Listen to that cheering. Listen to that cheering. Hello, everyone. Hello. How's it going? Welcome to ABCD. Thank you so much for joining us this week. We have a very special episode commemorating the holiday. My name is Omar Najam, but more importantly, I am joined by my mother, Marla Najam. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Welcome back. Welcome back. You made Sandeep very jealous with the popularity of your episode, just so you know.
We've not heard the end of it since.
Yeah, it's a daily text I get
Well,
from him.
I'll try very hard to not be a one-hit wonder.
Whoa,
All right.
okay, so we're not gonna pull a flock of seagulls. All right. Our show, ABCD, American Born Chatty Desis, is a podcast within a live stream within our lives as two American Born Desis. It's a podduckin. This is for anyone out there who, like us, is navigating your cultural identity and you just want to chat about it. Normally, we have the podcast broken into 3 acts, but instead, we are just focusing on talking with my mom. So we'll be doing that in just a second. But first, I got to mention our sponsors. We got 2 really great sponsors specifically for this week, special sponsors. The first one is, of course, Desi Quest. That's right, an actual play TTRPG set in a South Asian mythology-inspired universe built by Star GM Jasmine, that Bronze Gold Buller, with a stellar cast that includes Critical Role darling Anjali Bhamani, who's also on Dimension 20, Dimension 20 darling Rekha Shankar, who's also on Dimension 20, and 2 more darlings, me, who's also been on Dimension 20, and Sandeep. Our other sponsor is, of course, you. That's right. It's you. Thank you so much for helping us out. Head over to patreon.com/EffinFunny, EffinFunny. We've got multiple tiers for contributions. For $5 a month, you get to play with us during our after show on Twitch. For $10 a month, we sing your name in the credits. That's going to be me today. I have my guitar sitting right next to me. And we've got a ton more on there, so go ahead and check that out. If you want to support Desis just doing cultural stuff and creative stuff, and you want to help us keep the ABCD lights on, head over to patreon.com/EffinFunny. So with that business out of the way, should we get started? Does that sound good, Mom?
Yes, honey. It's great.
Great. So we are here to talk about being a Desi parent in America, which you have some experience with. Is that correct?
Yeah, seeing as all 3 of you were born here in this country, and I'm Desi, I think one could say safely.
So that fits all the categories. Let me ask this. Was it a conscious decision? Because you moved from India to England.
Mhm.
Was it a conscious decision to not have children in England that you were like, we're going to go to the States?
No, not really. I was
Okay.
just waiting for the right person to have children with, if that makes sense.
But who wasn't an American? I need to
I was
clarify. It
not
was
an
a British man,
American. It's
a
a
British
British
Pakistani
person.
man. Yeah.
Yes.
So wait, you and Dad, were you like, did you have plans to raise a family in England, or were you like, we'll probably go to the States if we're gonna have like a house and stuff?
Um, I don't know because every time I say something, you're gonna go, Mom, really? So
Mm-hmm.
I have to
Mm-hmm.
be kind of careful how I put it.
That's what the people
But
want. Let's get on the front page of
oh,
Reddit. Let's go.
the really answer. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so it's all about timing.
Right.
Dad had the freedom to kind of establish his career and
Right.
do all the things that he really wanted to do, and seeing that he had already lived here in Texas
Mm-hmm.
before and stuff like that, he was very familiar. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't. And my reluctance was that it was going to put me several hours farther away from my family, either way I looked at it.
Right.
Whether I lived in New York or
Mm-hmm.
whether I lived in the West Coast. As it turned out, in my very younger days, I used to always aspire to go live in Canada.
Okay. In
I have no idea.
Canada?
In Canada, and I have no idea why now. I can't even recall why it was
I like that as
Canada.
time has passed, you've been like really soured on Canada.
No, other than being, being alive and in Toronto when
Right.
Leonard Cohen was alive because I'm a huge Leonard Cohen fan.
Right.
I was just like, oh my God, I want to go and have coffee where he has coffee, and I want to walk around the streets he's walked on the streets.
Uh-huh.
That's fandom, right? I mean, that's
Right.
what you do.
Yeah.
But it didn't work out. It worked out. It all came together
Hmm.
when Dad and I came on a trip here.
Okay.
So
Okay.
87, I think. Yes, it was.
Right.
Yeah, Dad just said, let's go to California. I
Hmm.
said, why? And he says, because. And I said, oh, that's a good enough reason. Let's go. So, so we did. And we actually we did a coast to coast trip. That was
Uh-huh.
fantastic. We started in New York,
Uh-huh.
met up with his friends, and hung out in Long Island for a bit. And then
Hmm.
we got on the plane, came clear across the country to
Hmm.
San Jose, California, and then rented a car from San Jose, went to Los Angeles, did
Okay.
the Disney thing that everybody does. And then we drove through the desert and everywhere.
Wait, you went to Disney when you were first visiting here? Like Disneyland?
Yes,
In
everybody
87?
has to do that.
Did
Yeah.
you, because you haven't been back since, right?
No, I have been back once. You were a few months old
Okay.
when your uncle came here with his
Uh-huh.
boys, and we promised the boys that we
There you
would
go to
take them.
Disneyland.
So we took your
Is there,
cousins.
okay, so not to derail going to the desert, but real quick, is there a particular reason as to why you, after, like for now, 30 something years, you've been like, I'm not going to Disney. Like for half the age of Disneyland, you've been like, I'm not going back to the park. No?
No, 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 no. It's nothing like that. I just don't have the kind of craze that you guys have
Okay.
for going there because
Uh-huh.
to me, it hasn't changed or it doesn't change.
Right.
Um, and I'd kind of like gone past that stage, I was kind of like approaching my 30s. So I was just like,
Okay. I am in
been
my
there, done
30s.
that.
Okay, but like that's very funny for you to be like, I'm not like you guys. Anyway, I was in my 30s. I was growing out of this. I was maturing and getting on to my life.
No,
You
but
say to,
listen,
to me, someone
I
who
have
had an annual
friends
pass.
in 60s. I have friends that are 67
Yeah.
that would go to Disney twice a year.
Yes. Twice a year. I used to go once a week.
Why?
Because the annual pass honestly was cheaper than therapy. That was kind of the reason that we said that we would go once a week. It's great.
Yeah,
It's great. Would you be open to
well,
going here, speaking on the internet and on this podcast? Would you be open to trying it again 30 years later?
I would because now I've learned how to dress for the roller coasters and things. Because
I
coming
see.
from England, yes, one does not go on roller coasters with a skirt on. That is
That makes sense.
the
That makes
dumbest thing
sense.
that one can do. Because then it just
Uh,
goes on your face and then you can't see where you're going.
that makes that. Yeah, you do want to
Is there
keep
too
an
much
eye on.
information?
I also want to see the attractions around me. I completely agree. Is it an incentive to tell you that they took out Splash Mountain?
I like that.
No, you can't.
They
There,
did? That's
yeah,
sad.
no, it's not. It's not. It's like it was kind of uncomfortable. There were we kind of got rid of some stuff that needed to get rid of, and we're upgrading it. I'm saying it like I run the park. We're upgrading it to Princess and the Frog.
Princess and the Frog
Yeah,
or
is yeah.
Fog?
Okay, I want you to tell me right now. What do you think the movie Princess and the Fog would be? Please, please explain to me what Disney's Princess and the Fog would be. What would that film be?
The Princess and the Fog would be this princess who has this image of a prince that
Ooh.
she absolutely desires. Hey, wait, stop! Is somebody going to steal my idea?
Literally, no one's allowed to right now. We're all on strike.
This is so sad.
Okay, so
Okay,
so far you've got
so
a princess has an idea of a prince.
Yeah, she has like this, image of a prince in her
Yeah.
mind, and she's looking for him everywhere amongst people, and amongst other I don't know, training schools, like training to be a warrior or something. But she's
Okay.
looking for
Okay.
this prince, and get this, she goes into this foggy evening. She's just strolling through this
Going
street,
for a walk. Sure.
and
What time period is
along
this, by the
comes,
way?
huh?
What time
Where is
period is
this?
this?
What's
Yeah.
time? Any time period you want it to be. I
So
don't mind.
it could be
I'm
like
just I'm just
the
interested in the.
90s.
Uh, it could be 90s. It
Okay.
could be a
Okay.
little
So,
earlier than that, maybe even.
okay. So 87 when you were visiting the States.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then she's walking around, and all of a sudden her foot gets stuck in a hole, and then in the ground, and then she's like, "Help, I can't get out." And she realizes that it's all foggy,
Uh
and
huh.
there's no one around to rescue her, and she goes and she says, looks skyward, and she says, "I will never find my prince." And
Uh
just
huh.
then, guess what happens? Da,
He
da, da.
uh huh.
This prince arrives, and he
Okay.
says, "Are you in distress, my lady?" And she says, "Yes, I am. And could you help me?"
Uh huh.
And he says, "I will, absolutely." And then he bends down, and
Uh huh.
he, he just unwedges her like foot out of the hole and stuff, and he just gives it a good rub and says, "Is that good?" And if she was like me, smart, she would say, "No, I can't walk. You'll have to carry me." So,
I see.
you see where it's going? The fog came in handy.
Is that the full run of the 2 hour film, or is that the opening?
Uh, no, that's kind of two-thirds the way.
I think it's great. I mean, Lord of the Rings is mostly walking. I don't see why this movie can't be
Yeah,
mostly
that's
walking in
true.
fog.
That's very
Or
true.
like it's one
See,
of those
I'm
filmed in
telling
real
you.
time kind of movies. So like she's stuck in that hole in real time, and you're experiencing every
Yeah,
moment.
because if it was a third, then he would say, "My lady, you look very famished. Are you hungry?" And
Mm-hmm.
she says, "I am, because I was stuck in the forest and I have nothing to eat." And he would
Right.
say, "Let me take you to my cottage. I have a fresh deer I just hunted or something."
Okay.
And she would say, "But I'm a vegetarian."
Right. This
He
is
wanted to extend
1987.
it.
Oh,
He
I see.
wanted to
If we
extend
needed
it.
to stretch, yes, yes.
Yes.
If
Yes.
we needed to make sure there was more time.
And that she
Um,
would be reward. See, she would just fall for him. And then the next day, all the soldiers will arrive from her father's kingdom,
right.
and they would go back and report to the king that this nice young man rescued your daughter, and he would command him to come over, and then he would say, "Ask me for anything you want for saving my daughter's life." And
Uh-huh.
he would say, "Sire, I only desire your daughter's hand in marriage." How sweet is that?
You're
You
hired.
know,
That's great.
I
Well,
read a
can't
lot
be
of
hired right now
Barbara
because
Cartland.
all
Can
the
be,
writers are
yeah, I
striking.
can't
So
write.
you're not hired
I know.
currently.
Oh
No,
yeah, sorry.
Omar,
Yeah.
so
please.
Well,
sorry.
if it's are you open to this being animation?
Oh yeah, it could be.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then
it
we
could be
might be able to get something
animated.
going with tag.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it could be a puppet show, like we used to
Oh.
watch.
Yeah, I'll hit up Netflix.
Marionettes. You could hire some
Yeah.
marionettes and do a string show. Yeah.
I'll
Remember the
see
ones
if that's
in the little zoo that we had in
yeah.
San Jose? Hmm.
I mean, 3D is not really taken off the way we thought it would. Maybe we should pivot to marionettes. Um,
It's gonna save us so much
okay.
money on casting. I really like this idea.
um, incredible.
I'm so happy
Okay,
you
so
do.
uh, let's talk about in terms of like movies and stuff like that, which is all part of culture and puppet shows. I want to ask you, when we were growing up as kids, me and my two younger siblings, and we lived in the suburbs in San Jose. Did you feel that there was a culture clash? Like, did you feel like you wanted to raise us more Desi, less Desi? You wanted us to not take in certain parts of American culture. What was kind of your experience with that?
Um, I've said this so many times before. I'll
Uh-huh.
reiterate. My whole philosophy of raising
Mm-hmm.
you guys is first is your own image, your own self-image mattered a lot to
Uh-huh.
me.
Mm-hmm.
If you identified as a Brit, I would have found a way to take you back there and, put you in a boarding school if you wanted to be, or I would have stayed
It's a hell
there
of a
and
pitch.
I would
Yeah.
have stayed there with the kids that wanted to grow up Brits, which
Got
is
it.
why we put you in the International Baccalaureate,
Right.
because once we realized that you had a way with words, we were like, he should go to Cambridge and
Get the
study
hell out of
there.
America.
Is Well, no, it was
This one can
just,
talk. Yeah.
yeah.
So there was an association you had with England, that you were like, it's this. What about Desi culture? Because I don't recall growing up super like as Indian as like some other people that I know or like other family members, but I do feel like there's a bunch of stuff that we did that I thought was everyday American. Everyone in this country does it, and it turned out that it was like specific to Indian culture. So did you want to be like, here's how Indian things happen, or were you like, this is I'm just gonna craft my own like melting pot culture of like general American stuff, general Indian stuff, Californian values, English values? What was like your thought process through that of like what you were going to introduce to the house?
Uh, Again, it was bit of this, bit of that. I wanted you to
Uh-huh.
be able to converse with your grandma when you went back
Mm-hmm.
to England.
Okay.
We did prayers, so you
Mm-hmm.
understood that when you arrived in England and there was a certain requirement, and you knew the etiquette at least, you know.
Okay, I see. So
Yeah,
with the idea of like interacting with family, like being prepared for situations.
right, right,
Got it.
right. And because the funny thing was, hold on, my earbud is falling out. This, so, anyways, because the thing of it was that I grew up amongst, look, I speak 5 languages. Need I
Right.
keep reminding you? So what happens is that, so, sorry, I'm sorry, I'm not, saying this nicely, but I should say it nicely, that it was purely because as kids, we respected everybody's cultures as we went from home to home to visit our friends and stuff.
Right.
If we did not know how to greet our friends as parents in their vernacular or their mother
Mm-hmm.
tongue, as we say in Queen's English or now
Right.
King's English, um, we we were considered rude. If we went to
Right.
somebody's house and we said, "Hello, uncle. I'm here to play with your daughter." That wouldn't cut it.
Uh-huh.
You would be courteous and you would
Mm-hmm.
say, in their language, say if they were Punjabis, you'd go there and you say, Namaste, auntie, tusi kitte hain,
Uh-huh.
theek ho, changa ji, thanji, khelan aaya, and all this kind of stuff. Or if they offered you food, you wouldn't say, oh, we're Bengalis, we don't eat this, that kind of
Right.
stuff. It wouldn't happen. So that's the kind of stuff, the kind of philosophy I raised. And credit to your dad. I mean,
Uh-huh.
he was really generous in letting me do these kind of things. He never interfered. I always consulted him, and if he said yes, we did it as a whole family. If he said no,
Right.
then he didn't do it, and we did it.
Right.
Likewise, when you traveled to Chicago, and we had exposure to all different denominations of Bengalis, not just Bengali as an Indian Bengalis. There are Bangladeshi people and people from other regions that maintained. So yeah. However, all that said, we did not have as much exposure to the Indian/Bengali culture because of dad's friends and their companies. So we had to
Right.
make room for that, So yeah, so I think you guys did well to honor that.
Thank
I
you.
respect you guys for it. Yeah.
Were there any, and you can, this show is mostly like a gory show, so don't worry about getting in trouble with the homeland. W- Are were there any aspects of Indian culture that you did not want us to absorb? Were there any expectations that you thought were like archaic or problematic in any way that you were like, I'm not introducing my children to this? Because I don't like we, for example, I don't remember ever growing up with any idea of like what the caste system was until like I was much older. Like I never got that sense of like a taxonomy of importance societally within people until we went to India. I think for the first time that I was like old enough to be like, wait, what is this and how does this work? Um, so yeah, were there any things in Indian culture that you're like, we're not touching this? This isn't like things from your childhood that were like you were like, I'm not doing this. My kids are not gonna experience this or learn about this in this way.
I've been waiting for a long time to answer this.
To answer this question, well,
The minute you
thank
said it,
you,
I was ready
Sandeep
with
and Delvin, for
the answer,
hosting this
with the answer
show.
on the tip of my tongue. I was just like, whoa, I want to say this. Okay, so can I just say that? It was male chauvinism. I absolutely
Okay,
abhor male chauvinism.
sure, sure,
If somebody, even when remotely I was a child and I was a younger
right,
person, and he was my uncle, and he was, probably much older than my dad even, or whatever, and very learned person, but then they had that weird way of talking to you,
right.
and kind of like, I'm your uncle, respect me. Hell no.
I see.
I will
Right.
respect you if you prove yourself.
Yeah.
So I had that barometer. People had to
Uh huh.
measure up to my kind of graph,
Uh huh. Uh huh. Uh
or
huh.
whatever. So yeah, if you respected me, I respected you back. I mean, you've heard the stories about my sister's wedding, right? I mean,
I think
there was
so.
like this, yeah, there was some chaos about there, like, oh, why this and that? It's like, no,
Mm-hmm.
it's the girl's happiness. It matters, and it matters the most.
Yeah.
And who are you guys? I mean, you don't pay for my food bills. My dad does. And
Right.
but it's a lot of it is they are not even aware of it, which is really pathetic and very
Right.
sad,
Mm-hmm.
because they feel like they're doing the right thing by you. They're like, oh, you guys have become too American or too foreign, because dad used to travel a lot abroad, and they
Mm-hmm.
would say,
Mm-hmm.
oh, yeah, 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 you bring those ideas back home, and look at your children. Why does she have to take up archery? She doesn't need to do archery. She's an Indian kid. It's like,
Right.
yeah, so what? Indian Maharanis and the goddesses used to do archery and swordmanship, sword personship.
Yeah.
They knew
Yeah.
how to do all of that. So I learned all of
You.
that too. So
I don't know if we talked about this, and then we'll come back to I think like the main sort of core of what you're saying, but like really quickly, uh, is it you were so you did archery? Didn't you also do like sharpshooting?
target shooting.
Target shooting. And were you like an Olympic? Like you could have gone to the Olympics or something.
I I was in National Cadet Corps, which is
Uh huh.
NCC. Yeah, and I did this corps very, very well. And they used to always try to convince my mom,
Uh huh.
because dad was easier to deal with, mom wasn't. So they would always be like, can we take her for tryouts? Can we take her for tryouts? She could really go on a national level. And um, my mother would be, I don't know, I don't think so.
Uh huh.
They were like, can we speak to your husband? She goes, no, you're talking to me. And I'm just telling you. And that my mom wasn't a big woman. She was just a little person,
Right.
and not very demure, and very like quiet, and but once in a while she'd just like bring out the fire, and she'd just turn around and say, why, you don't think I'm capable of making a decision for my daughter? Something like that.
Right.
And then they would all be like, because Bengalis by nature are supposed to be very gentle people.
Okay.
So we kind of, people assume that if you're Bengalis, you're going to be very demure and
Mm-hmm.
polite
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. Well, I grew up with the Punjabis and stuff, and I was a tough kid. So it's just like, yeah. But I mean, that is something I really do enjoy. I did enjoy it immensely, and I was like, I wish I could. But then I
Yeah.
found other things, I found theater, and that just kind of like, yeah, okay, never mind. I can do
Right.
theater and make a name for myself.
Let
So,
me ask the big stereotypical question that is done to death, but we can. It's if it's not done to death, we can kill it here and now. Your children turned out to be in reverse order of age, like an art gallery owner and professional Magic the Gathering player, a national park ranger and a craftsman, and a professional D&D player. Um, those are not necessarily traditional jobs when you think of like raising Indian family. Did you ever have the expectations of that like engineer doctor sort of like old like 1980s sort of joke version that while we all are just like no one thinks that anymore, so many of my friends are all engineers, or and developers, or doctors. Did you ever feel that pressure to us, to put that onto us? Was it like a conscious decision to like avoid that language in the house?
mm, let me answer that with another question. Are you
Okay.
a happy human being?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of my creative life, in terms of how much money I make, it's a struggle. But but in terms of being creatively fulfilled, and having no regrets about the decisions that I've made, sort of professionally, I would say yes. Like I would say that I've worked. The closest I've come to a quote unquote normal job is a marketing job, and I couldn't do it. I kept I kept trying to create all their systems and improve them, and I couldn't do things the way they were established and I was told to do. Um, so yeah, I would say yes. I feel very much like myself with the
So
things
I've
that I
done my
do.
job. I've done my job. I've given you my answer. You've answered it for me. Let me tell
Yeah,
you, when people would come to me after your gate teacher, remember Miss
gifted and
Schaefer?
talented education. Yeah.
Good. I mean, God bless her. She was just so amazing.
Hmm.
And she would come to me and she goes, "Do you know what a joy it is to have him in my class?" And I would say, "Oh, really?" And she goes, "Why do you say, oh, really?" I said, "No, I'm just asking."
Because he's such a
And she goes,
dour presence in the house.
So happy to get him off the schools or get away from him for a
Yeah.
little bit.
You know the worst part of my day?
"But you know what? Let me say this also, and I have thanked you before, and I'm
Uh-huh.
not doing it because I'm on your show. Yeah, I am
Okay.
saying it because I truly am thankful for the way you would take things on and take them to 100% and beyond.
Uh-huh.
And it was something that you truly were, how shall I say it, dedicated to and
Uh-huh.
and gifted to also.
Uh-huh.
And we never, as parents, we never said you had to do something even if you hated it.
Right.
If you wanted to do something and you were not capable of, then as parents, we provided you that opportunity and that
Uh-huh.
incentive, to see if we could entice you into going that way.
Right.
But we would never consider forcing you. I mean, we think that your middle brother is an
Mm-hmm.
excellent engineer. He's
Mm-hmm.
got this such a divergent thinker, and he can just like, you give him some problem, and then in the morning he's like, okay, here's the solution. And I was like, why did you not switch off your light last night? All night it was, burning all night. Because I was working on this problem. You're working on this problem. So, as parents, and I, like I say, we are good partners, your dad and I, in that sense,
Mm-hmm.
that we were in unison. If even if I did not agree with some things he was saying, I'd take it on away from you guys. But I'd be like, "Oh, you're supposed to say this. We are his parents." And he'd be like, oh, because he was like that, and Grandpa was like that.
Uh-huh.
Grandpa, don't forget that Grandpa was like, hey, I brought you to a land of opportunity. You guys are on your own. Make it or break it.
Right.
You know, and that's kind of like is in the genes, of the family, that you are given an opportunity. It's up to you. You're going to make it or you're going to not make it. So
So are you saying for you it was more of a case of there's no confines? Does that make sense? Like it's not a rebellion against like the stereotype. It was like if you want to do this then great. If you don't and you want to do this then great.
see, we were all yeah, I think in my family, I can speak for my family more than I can dad's, but as
Uh-huh.
much as I know, because I was a good friend with your grandma, I was always chatting with her, and she would, confide in me, and she would tell me all these wonderful stories about how grandpa opened a school for these people, because when grandpa was repatriated from India,
Mhm.
and he was given like 120 acres of land or something, middle of nowhere, and said, okay, this is your land, make whatever you will out of it.
Mhm.
Well, he made a citadel out of that deserty, barren thing. He built a school. He used to get magazines, American magazines, for the kids to just do around. I mean, dad knows like all the aircrafts, because grandpa was in Royal Air Force. All his brothers were in Royal Air Force, all the cousins and everybody, so they know about, all these aircrafts, and then engineering was such a big deal. And yet, nobody went into engineering from three of our children.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was okay with him. He was, he didn't force anybody to go anywhere, but, we understand and we see some of your friends are, big time entertainment attorneys and stuff, and owning homes and things. It's great. I love them equally, but it is, for me, it
Mhm.
is, the peace of mind and that joy of living, not I am having to do this because it is enforced on me,
Right.
whether I can or not. It's like, do you recall the fight I had with one of your English honors teachers in the middle school? Because she, do
Yes,
you?
Miss Bailey.
Yes, I was going to name her. But, anyways,
I'll say it. I don't
Miss
care.
Bailey, this is for you. This is for your viewers, well, or listeners.
I never took her class.
There was a teacher who thought Omar does not belong in English honors class in
Right.
seventh grade. So she said, well, I can't have him because he doesn't qualify, even though you were coming for a gate student as a gate gifted and talented student from elementary school. So I wasn't going to throw, the race card at her and stuff, because at a certain time I decided that you were going to speak for yourself.
Uh-huh.
And I was just waiting for that opportunity, because along came the Young Authors Book Fair. Guess whose book got the top prize? Then came the speech contest. Guess who got the, award for it? And the
In both
greatest
cases
thing
it was
was
William
at the
Shakespeare. Mhm.
eighth eighth grade English honors teacher came to me somewhere during middle of seventh grade, and she says, I can't wait for your son to be in my class next year. And I said, and how would he go, because he hasn't done seventh grade, because it was a prerequisite. You had to have done the
Mhm.
seventh grade to have gone to the eighth grade. So she said, she looked at me and she said, I want him in my class. And I said, so I'm hearing you say, your lips are saying something, but I'm hearing you say that you will make it happen for him. She said, yes. And I just said, you're the best, and you belong in, the hall of famous teachers. You don't belong. Seriously, I mean, Miss Lawler, God bless her, even now, every time she steps in that office, she walks up to me and she'll say, "What's my boy doing these days? Tell me about him."
Oh, that's so sweet.
Is so adorable that she still follows your career and she follows what everything. When you were selected the 50 most interesting people, from UCSB, she was the one person I called and I said, "Miss Lawler, you got to hear this." And she said, I mean, I got goosebumps when I'm talking about it. And she was just like, "I could have told you that. Why am I surprised?" And
Right.
she said, "I'm not surprised at all." She said, "I knew he had a place and he had a place." And we're like, great. That's sometimes you have to just leave it there. And, it's better to retire on a high note than to drag it down, to a point where it's like, eh, I don't know what happened. We should have just left it, way back there.
Right.
So, yeah. So yes, I could have pushed you guys to be someone that you perhaps would have been, could have been, should have been,
Hmm.
but I'm not a woulda, coulda, shoulda person. I'm just like, enjoy it. And that's how I was. I mean, I did all the crazy stuff, and everybody was like, "Oh, he should have done that." I wanted to go to Indian Film Institute in Pune, which was very new at that time. And the reason that was given to me that I couldn't go there was I had to go by myself, and they could not
Uh-huh.
permit a young child to go by. I mean, I wasn't a young child, I wasn't a young adult, that I could not have gone. So I said, all right, I'll just leave and go live in England. So, you
There
know,
you go.
but
Um,
anyway, I mean, and you know what? Here's the thing. All these things said, I always say, everybody has a path that they, carve for themselves. They walk the walk. Some do talk the talk, don't do walk the walk. But
mhm.
for me, it was like, I just was different. I mean, I don't know. Amir calls it neurodivergent or something these days. I mean, it's like, I don't know. I don't think it was divergence, but it was neuro, all right. But it's just like, but anyways, I don't mind. I mean, we are friendly and we're allowed to say things in our home. At least we speak openly. If you couldn't speak in your own home, where could you? You could say it outside and get beaten up. I mean, that would be the wrong message to give to your child. That go outside and, just say whatever crap you want to say and then be like, whoa, why did you come home with a black eye? Because I said something. The guy didn't like it, so he punched me.
Right.
So, anyway, that's that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very, I'll definitely ask a question around that off, because that note is a, a pretty big one to end on. Um, but first, something probably should have asked earlier. Did you unplug your headphones? Because I can hear a little echo.
Did I do what?
Unplug your headphones?
Unplug? No, one of them came off a little bit. Maybe that's why. Hold on. Oh no. Sorry, it did come off. One of them.
I
Mr.
knew
Soundcheck
it.
Man is supposed to say something to me. Delvin, you got to make a card.
You were telling an excellent story, and I didn't want to interrupt you during it. So I've just been mitigated by like trying to like when Omar's saying something, just like muting you for the stream for a second, then unmuting when you go back, so that it's mostly only
You
Omar
are
hearing the echo. But yeah, we're just waiting
Delvin,
for a good
you're
moment.
a sweetheart. You're treating me like a mother should be treated on Mother's Day. God bless you, child.
So let me ask, to sort of like address and wrap up the day itself, the holiday in a way, but not to make it so pointed or limited in scope. In the spirit of everything that you've said, it's been antithetical to that. It's not about restrictions. It's not about labels. That's the thing we talk a lot about on the show, being away and outside from feeling confined and not being like culture is a thing that squeezes you into a box. If you have labels, those are things that emancipate you and that inform you. It's not anything to make you just one way or the other. It's something you get to celebrate. So I'm gonna ask you a question that is outside like the specifics of like Mother's Day. And this is just you as a person, like not even specifically my mom, but just you as a person. Uh, there is a lot of reconnecting going on right now with us emerging from the enforced quarantine
Mm-hmm.
and and trying to re-socialize, trying to start new relationships, whether those are romantic or not, friendships or business relationships. So I'm going to ask you this question: How do you how do you show, share, and foster love with other people? What do you think is your specific way that you let people know that you love them and that you care about them?
That's a heavy question. But no, it's kind
I
of
guess we
weighted,
can go
right?
back to Princess and the Fog. Do you
No,
PG-13,
no, no,
rated
no, no,
R? What are
no.
you
So
thinking?
leave the
Yeah.
fog alone. That's fine. Because no, wait. I did what I didn't tell you was I'm in Dad's office, and the fog was so beautiful earlier on. So it was easy for me to spin that story.
My
The
goodness, look at
fog. I
that.
could
Yeah.
visualize it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the question was what now?
So attentiveness is maybe something we can strike off that list.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I got it. I got
Uh,
it. I recalled it. I recalled it. I recalled it. Sorry, I got distracted by the
please, please.
princess and the pawn. So the thing is, you have to value people in your life, right?
Hmm.
And my personal, theory is, if I value you, I am with you.
Right.
Okay. And if I don't value you, you can be a person of really high stature with a lot of money and fancy cars or whatever. You're still an asshole for me. So I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to say that. Maybe. Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't hear it.
Nope, it's on the internet. It's out there.
Yeah. Okay. Good. No, but anyways, what I'm saying is, if I value a person
Uh-huh.
and for any reason that person was sick or whatever, I would do whatever that person needed
Uh-huh.
to nurture them and to
Right.
care for them.
Hmm.
It is not about anything else at that point. It is
Hmm.
about the fact that you care for them. And just recently, there was a friend, and um, they were they were diagnosed with something, and
Hmm.
their partner said that they had thought that they should speak, they should say something because they saw something,
Uh-huh.
and it is like that, it is like, if it is something you can help them with,
Hmm.
then I think you should rise up to it and do
Hmm.
it. But do not be foolish. Do not do it in a way that you are harming yourself, that you render yourself useless
Hmm.
for yourself, others, or how shall I put it? Even a second occasion, if with the same person, God
Hmm.
forbid. So yeah, I mean, I went to nursing school, and I got my degree, and I was, in a dilemma whether I wanted to go into midwifery because I love delivering babies and I love babies and stuff, or do I want to just go to accident emergency, which was high action. I mean, that's like high octane, high
Right.
adrenaline thing. And back home those days, all senior nurses went in the ambulance with the drivers, yeah, with
Uh-huh.
the crew. So that was really amazing. And actually, it's odd that you would say it was all happening about the time that AIDS was happening
Uh-huh.
in England and world, around
Hmm.
the world. And so yeah, I mean, there were patients that came in, and they would not be. There was a lot of ambiguity about their
Right.
diagnosis, and they were perhaps in isolation unit or something. We didn't ask questions.
Yeah.
We took the oath to care for the individual, and we would just nurture them and care for them. However, if it was something that we, you know, I mean, I don't want to sound really grandiose about the whole thing, but
Okay.
when I was only about 13 when I wanted to go and meet Mother Teresa in
Right.
Calcutta,
Mm-hmm.
and I that was the thing, and everybody said, "Oh, no, 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 girls don't go work in leper colonies and stuff." Um, why not? I mean, they need help too. So that was the kind of philosophy I had, and I still have, and I would
Yeah.
I would do it in a heartbeat, if somebody needed my help, and I knew that they had something that was not. I don't know how to put it. Perhaps it was contagious.
Mm-hmm.
It would not stop me.
Right.
It would not stop me. So
We used to end this show, and we still do when we have episodes that are promoting a cause and bringing attention to something. We end the show with like compliments to one another. Um, and what I will say is, because you've been very complimentary this episode, so I will just pay this back to sort of like wrap this up. One thing I've always admired about you is that you do actionably care about people. I know a lot of folks who do care about people. You find ways to do things that care about for the people you care about, or to care for people. And I don't just mean this in a way where it's like, especially with like femme presenting people in society, there's like an expectation. It's not that. Like your profession has always been helping people. Anything you volunteer to do is like teaching art classes or assisting people. Anytime you do something, it is to better the folks around you, or whatever you're doing, naturally and organically betters the people around you. And so that's a compliment that I wanted to pay to you on this day, that I think is a really great way to piggyback off of sort of that last thing you said, which it is doing things to help people, and not in a time that you're going to get a whole lot back necessarily. It's not transactional. It's just that you care about people. And I think that's great. So I want to thank you so much for joining us this week
it's
on this
over.
episode. That's
The
it.
show's over.
Yeah. The show's
What?
over. I'm so sorry. It's a tight podcast. We run a real tight ship here. I say as we started 10 minutes late.
Started
Are
10
there
minutes late,
before
took 20 minutes to get into the actual podcast, of the pre-stream, but
Well, that's
bef-
all my fault. You can blame it on me.
is
I
where
I have a suggestion. And
okay.
I have a suggestion, and
This
my
is the part of the
suggestion
podcast
is
where we get
this.
feedback, yeah.
Yes, yes,
Uh-huh.
feedback.
Uh-huh.
Very good. There's still some time for Christmas to come, so you guys can
Fair.
perhaps put together a briefcase for me with my
With money in it?
laptop and my
Oh,
own
you want a
headphones
remote
with
recording
things that don't
studio.
echo back.
Okay. You want a voiceover booth. You want us to send you a voiceover booth. I see.
Oh, I'm joking. I'm joking. But I'm very blessed that you guys can laugh with me. I am
Mm-hmm.
really thankful to God that we as a family are just so wacky. And you know, my niece sent me, and my niece knows which one it is. And
Uh-huh.
I'll try to do this without crying because it is just so beautiful. She when she wants to pay me an ultimate compliment,
Uh-huh.
she'll say, just stay weird. And to me,
Uh-huh.
that is like such a high honor because most people won't get what she means by that. Because by
Right.
being weird, I have achieved so much in my life, and
Mm-hmm.
being able to give it to people,
Mm-hmm.
being able to receive it. And don't
Uh-huh.
that goes hand in hand, because you can't just say, I'm just a giver, I don't like receiving.
Right.
If you cannot receive, you cannot open your heart to people. And if you cannot do that, you cannot be a good giver. You're not one of the, it's like, okay, there are gazillion examples of how to be a giver, but that compliment on this Mother's Day was just something. It was just so sweet and so adorable, because the way I was, the way
Uh-huh.
I have been, and the way I continue to be
Hmm.
truly is weird to a lot of people.
Right.
And to me, it's not. It's just me.
Uh-huh.
Take it or leave it. So I'm
Yeah.
glad that you guys take it. I love you all so dearly, and I love your dad the most. I mean, without that man. No, seriously, seriously. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not saying because it's Father's Day. It's my day, and I can
Yeah.
hog it all
Yeah.
if I want to. But but I'm giving, the thing. And Neville, Mr. Neville, you still owe me Happy Mother's Day greeting.
There was another segment I was prepared for, and we didn't get to it. So happy Mother's Day.
Excuse me, did you say something, Delvin? I didn't hear you.
Wow.
Oh!
Wow.
The shade! Oh my god!
What is that echo? I love you, sweetheart. I have
Wow.
not met you, and I cannot wait to meet you. We'll just have so much fun. I'm telling you.
You're
We'll
the best,
just,
Marla.
yeah,
You really
we'll
are.
make a huge cauldron of gumbo and just have a great time.
And we'll
'Cause,
have a
yeah,
nice cauldron of hot orange juice.
Yes.
good. That would be good. Yes.
Folks, this has been our show. Thank you so much for joining us. We want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. The first sponsor is Desi Quest, the TTRPG that stars Sandeep and me and some other folks that you will like. It's going to be awesome. It's coming out soon. If you want updates, go to desiquest.com, DESIQUEST.com to sign up for that mailing list, and you'll get up-to-the-minute news about the show. Our other sponsors are you wonderful folks, our Patreons. And Sandeep usually sings a little song, but instead, I'll be doing the honors. So, I don't know what chord he actually plays. So I'm going to play my favorite, which is C/G. The last people I'd like to thank are the Patreons who put money in our bank, which includes Joshua Ryan, Tall BM, Carlo, Woozak, Benjamin Lowe, Hunter P. Brown, Miranda Hollinger, Vaden, Michael Long, Christina Romero, Danny's Corner, Raylan Fox, Selena B, Nervous Rex, Sarah H, Gracie, Santa Cruz, Doteca Couplet, Ali Oxenfree, John Lee Yang, Little Bug, and the thing about this last guy, he's got a gorgeous face, the sexiest man in Ohio. His name is the real Brandon Pace. The show is produced. Thank you. Let's make that list even longer. And because Sandeep will have to do it next time. The show's produced by Diego Lanau. The show's technical director and sound designer is now canonically Mr. Soundcheck Guy. The show's executive producers are Sandeep Parikh and Anand Shah. This is edited by Sean Meager. Our music is by Harshal Sisodia, Jasveer Singh, and Malik Zaveri. This has been an EffinFunny production. On behalf of me, Omar, and our wonderful co-host, my mom, may your chakras be aligned and smothered in chutney. And there it is. There it is. Chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Mama got some great comments about Princess and the Fog.
Yeah, people are in for Princess of the Fog. Also, apparently, Chad has cast me in the role of the Fog when we do this.
Yeah, yeah, there's no doubt about that. D-Man says, I have seen 2 bears on my drive home. All right. It's 2 more than me.
Hey, nobody sent any questions this time, huh? Or comments?
No, we have some comments. I mean, we got this was amazing by Ginger Chris. Let's see here. Let me scroll up.
Ken Blaze says that you have them beat by 2 languages.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Joe Gollum complimented your tension building, so congratulations on that. Linda said, I love her commitment to this plot for Princess and the Fog. Hey, they did Frozen. Fog is just different weather. That's good. You're right.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
right. We all totally Terry says we all aspire to be Canadians now. So yeah, let's see. We'll see if any more pop up. Unfortunately, we're not going to be. Delvin, are you running something after this?
Think I'm running anything after this?
Yeah, we'll wait till Sandeep joins us again for us to have some fun. And
Did
we'll
you
make up for missing a week for sure. But was that mom?
did you share with Delvin that I had this idea of having Sandeep's mom and I in a team, and you and Sandeep
Yes.
in a team,
Yeah.
and we could
A battle of the generations. Total generation off. Absolutely.
whichever.
Absolutely. Um,
No.
yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. We'll definitely get you both on a show, which will be absolutely wild.
I think
So,
it'll be fun, because like I was saying after the first show,
uh,
I was what I took away from it was um, how the synergy between you and me, like I say things and you're already nodding, like
yeah.
where this is going, and that just was so beautiful, and it always has been,
Hmm.
and if people hear us, like argue, they'll say, does this family like each other? We
It's
love
not the
each
worst
other.
argument we've ever had. This is a timid Costco sample of.
Yeah, no, seriously, seriously. I mean, yeah, we've had fun, but
In regards to the Battle of the Generations, Dodeca says, please, please, please do that. Sounds amazing.
oh my God.
Very good. So, folks, we'll wrap this out. We'll let you get back to your Sunday. Thank you again so much for joining us. And we'll be back with more Sandeep next time. Have a wonderful week, everybody. And again, hop in Discord, chat with us over there. And Mom, do you want to send a picture of your paintings? I'll post in the Discord.
Oh, I will one of these
Okay.
days. Yeah. Thanks.
Oh, one of these days. All right. Well, everyone hang tight.
So
It might or might not happen.
no.
It's somewhere on the to-do
Wait,
list.
wait.
Real,
No,
real
wait.
toss up.
I'm in the Cambria house, so
Yeah.
they're up
So,
on the wall. I have to get up on the ladder and get them down.
I mean, you can just take a picture from afar. It's up to you. You're
Oh,
the artist.
okay. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. Actually,
So,
in fact, I'll do it and just send it to you before,
perfect.
we have to do the show and stuff.
There we
So.
go. So great. Well, all right. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Have a wonderful week, and we'll talk to you in a little bit. All right.